Hello world, welcome to the 83rd Climate Change Emergency Protest here in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, USA. Tanya's here with me today. Yay.
Hi.
And it's July 10th, 2020. 84th one will be on July 17th, 2020. Presently the CO2 level is 415.4 parts per million. Normally it's this time of year, last year is 410 parts per million. So we're almost 5 points above where we were last year. My theory on that is that it's not the manufacturing that's kicking in, it's the Arctic and the methane and the CO2 escaping from the ground in the permafrost area, as well as the four Russian seas. Right now in Gettysburg, we got a cluster of problems going on, and that we got an actual gigantic boat coming down the street or something or other, and traffic's backed up crazily, so it's going to be a real noisy broadcast probably, but that's okay. That's a reason why we're in this trouble, is because we got all these automobiles and everything going every which way, like there's no tomorrow, and there will be no tomorrow if we continue on this path. Right now you have Great Lakes are 80 degrees and above in temperature, which could be really bad in that the algae growth, and also the Great Lakes have to dump in somewhere, so they go into the Mississippi River eventually, I guess. No, they don't. They go into the St. Lawrence Seaway, which dumps in the North Atlantic. So, that'll cause a problem with the lobsters and the halibut and tuna that follow the halibut to eat. So it's a whole problem developing that way. The ocean waters won't, or the waters won't cool down by the time they get to the ocean. So that's 80 degree water going into the ocean way up north in Canada. China's having floods right now. The Three Gorges Dam's in jeopardy. It has shifted in the past. They think the Chinese lie about it and say it hasn't shifted, but I think it's a couple more floods like this, and it could be in real jeopardy, and that would kill millions of people downstream. Japan's having floods due to extreme rains. They've lost close to 100 people so far. Devastating floods. Coronavirus, Bolsonaro down in Brazil he's the leader of Brazil. He evidently has coronavirus, good, because he's a big denier about it, and he said it won't affect him. So hopefully he'll get it, and eventually some leader will hopefully get really sick, just like the Prime Minister did in England. It's the only way you're going to make a difference is if someone dies or gets really sick, so then they take it seriously. Coronavirus is running out of control in the USA, and it's a real problem here in the United States. It's hitting the southern states real hard now. It's spread up to the northern states as far as Pennsylvania goes. The Northeast is presently safe from it, but it's the rates of coronavirus infection are continuing to go up. Sorry I'm being distracted. I got to show you this boat when it comes down the street. It's coming up York Street going west, which is the opposite way of where the ocean is. And it's a giant ocean type vessel, which looks like it would be worth several $1 million, right, Tanya? I mean, it's humongous.
Yeah.
There's no reason for it.
Huge.
So it's blocking off the whole town, and it's only 8 o'clock in the morning, so it's really weird. So anyways, the Arctic, let's see, Biden's running for president for the Democratic Party, and he's appeasing the progressives, saying he's going to do something about climate change. But I've seen this happen before, where they appease everyone. Hi, they appease the progressives, and then they end up doing nothing anyway, and they stay in their corporate line. But meanwhile, the progressives don't vote for another party because they believe that the Democrats will actually do something for them. This giant boat, this is unbelievable. This is entertaining in itself, and it's very sad commentaries what's happening with climate change. You gotta look at this thing, it's absolutely insane. That boat is a climate change disaster.
Hitting the ground.
Yeah, it's so large that it's dragging the trailer that's carrying the boat. This boat must be worth millions of dollars, and where they're going, I don't have a clue. There's no, unless they're going way west in Pennsylvania, and there's a lake called Raystown Lake, but this is an ocean boat, and it's in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania right now. but Lord help the people that are trying to drive Route 30 right now, because it's going to take them days to get to where they're going. Anyways, back to climate change. The Arctic melt is the biggest story in the history of humanity, and look at this pontoon boat. It actually looks tiny compared. The Arctic melting is the biggest history or story in the history of humanity, and no one even knows that it's happening right now. And for example, it's 90 degrees northeast of Moscow right now, and up in Siberia, and it's about 1,200 miles northeast of Moscow. And what that entails is that the permafrost is melting, the CO2 is escaping, and also the rivers that dump into the seas, the 4 Russian seas in Siberia, are throwing extremely warm water into the Arctic Ocean. So that promotes melting of sea ice quicker, but the more devastating fact is that you have frozen methane hydrates in the seabeds, and that methane is a greenhouse gas that's 160 times more potent than is CO2. So it's a really bad situation as far as CO2 levels and increasing. I think that's the main reason behind why the CO2 levels are not going down, and they should be this time of year. They reduced a little bit, but basically they're holding their own and not going to go down. So right now, you have the lowest sea ice in the Siberia, in the oceans there, that we've ever had. It's basically 3 deviations above where it was normally. So if that was an IQ, instead of being 100 IQ, it'd be 145 IQ, if that gives you any idea what's going on. I have 4 theories as to, big theories as far as I'm concerned, but some of them are adaptations of other people's theories. But I have 4 theories as to what's going to happen with the world, especially with no action being taken. And my first theory is the edges of the sea ice will continue to melt away, and we're going to get more and more permafrost loss and more CO2 escape into the atmosphere, and more methane as well. You don't need a blue ocean event for devastation to happen to the rest of the world. As long as the permafrost keeps melting, and then eventually the methane hydrates at the edges of these 4 seas in Russia are escaping the atmosphere, we're in big trouble, and people don't even know it's happening. They won't know it's happening. And most scientists that believe in the pure ocean, blue ocean event, and have to wait till that happens for things to happen, no. What's going to happen is this methane and permafrost is going to keep escaping. Peat fires, taiga fires in the forest. We got a really devastating situation going, and it could cause extreme abrupt climate change here in the world. The jet stream, this is a big one for me. The jet stream will no longer control the weather. The opposite will happen. The tail will start wagging the dog, and that the jet stream will be controlled by the weather, okay? In my mind, that the continents will warm to a point that they go into drought. Yeah, there will be downpours and some weather systems coming through, but the continents, and all the growing areas of the continents especially, will continue to warm up and heat up, and you'll have less clouds, and then you'll have an occasional downpour, but more and more drought will ensue. And with that, you have less clouds, you have more drought, which wins over. Downpours eventually disappear. You'll have less rain. You'll have extreme drought again and more heat. So it's a cyclical event that spirals down into nothing but a devastating, heated central part of every growing continent in the world, such as Siberia, China, where they grow food. You have the continental United States and central United States, as well as central Canada. So we're really playing with fire here as far as messing with the jet stream, and it's becoming shredded, and it's becoming a non-player in the whole event, in that it has slowed down, and you have to go almost 6 miles up in the atmosphere before you get real winds in the jet stream. If you go outside today, look outside your door, and you'll see your leaves aren't blowing on the trees, the flags aren't blowing, or what. There might be a wisp of air, but it's not like when I was a kid when it was just winds all the time. Because there's no difference between the temperature, or there is difference, but not as big difference between the Arctic temperatures and the temperatures down south. So with less of a temperature difference, the jet stream slowed down to almost nothing. So in my mind, my second theory is that the weather will control the jet streams, not the other way around. So you're going to have a shift to Greenland, and Paul Beckwith talks about this shift of cold to Greenland. You know, it's a growing catastrophe as far as crops. As far as crops go, you won't be able to grow anything because now, if there is a jet stream, it has shifted. It will have to shift to correspond with the cold air that is now 17 degrees off of the North Pole, not at 0 degrees. It shifts 17 degrees farther. You end up with more melting of Greenland due to that. You know, what more melting is in the sea ice or the ice on the land, and it dumps into the ocean. With that happening, the Gulf Stream gets affected, and it slows down, and like the jet stream, it starts to get affected as far as its potency to affect the sea life underneath it. So with the slowing jets or Gulf Stream, you end up with more heat buildup along the coast of the United States, more heat buildup in the Caribbean. So what that leads to then, if you have more heat buildup, as is now happening, that you end up with the potential of having a Category 6 hurricane, which is not invented yet. It's not on the scale. No one has talked about it. And in my mind, and this is my third theory, that there will be Category 6 hurricanes, and those will be absolutely destructive of a city if it hits them. With the slowing down of the Gulf Stream too, you get ocean buildup of temperatures, which also contributes to a higher level of ocean water available to flood the cities. So you could easily have, you know, what is sunny day flooding, and you're having that in Miami now, but it might become commonplace in other coastal cities around the whole world. Sea level rise, if Greenland melts altogether, will be a 21-foot rise. But you can't factor out the Alps and other contributing factors like the Antarctica and the Himalayas and all. So it's easily possible within our lifetime, before we all wink out here and no longer become a factor as humans, that we could end up 60 feet higher in sea level rise. And what that'll do is devastate any coastal city, and also all of Bangladesh, and also low-level countries and islands throughout the world. So that was my third theory, is the shifting of cold to Greenland and the effects of it. Fourth theory is coastal town floods, okay? Sea level rise lead to higher tides, sunny day flooding, bigger hurricanes. You know, it's got towns and countries affected, and what also, not just businesses, but you're going to have mass migration. So you get a temperature increase, which will kill 1 billion people for every degree Celsius increase. And then you also have migration, that people have to scramble and get out of their countries before utter devastation happens. So all in all, what it comes down to is people aren't out protesting. People don't really care right now in the United States, especially, as to what's happening and how bad things will get. And so complacency will lead to our deaths. And you know, not getting out, not taking action. You don't need my protest or Tanya's protest to get out here and actually do something. You can do your own protest. You can actually start posting online about climate change, and you really need to study up on it if you don't know about it. I mean, really know about it, as far as what's happening right now. And we're definitely working towards extinction. As I said before, I think in 3 years we're going to have trouble surviving, and in 6 years I'm not sure anyone will be here, or if they are, it's just total chaos as far as governments go. So, you know, give or take a couple years, it's coming, and if people don't start taking action now, Time Magazine says this is our last and best chance to affect climate change, and I believe it is our last chance, but I don't think it's our best chance. Our best chance was 35 years ago. So, you know, we're getting to this very late, and we're not doing what we need to do to do what's needed to affect climate change. And you know, we're going to become extinct, and we're going to probably take all life on Earth with us. The scary part is we might make Earth into a Venus where, you know, nothing lives and nothing can live, because it becomes a hothouse due to greenhouse gases. So my advice is to listen to Paul Beckwith on YouTube, Peter Wadham's, Peter Carter, Extinction Rebellion, and Environmental Coffee House. If you go through all their postings over the last 5 years, you will become a climate change expert, and you will get interested in other people that are broadcasting about climate change. So, you know, you need to get up and do something, and I'm accusing everyone, including myself, of not doing enough. And you know, we're definitely on the road to hell here and extinction, and it's not going to be pretty. You think coronavirus was bad? Just wait till this starts happening, and it'll make coronavirus look like a walk through the park. So unless you want climate chaos and governmental breakdown and no one helping anyone and everyone for themselves and mass murders and everything else that goes along with it and scrambling for food and a Mad Max situation, I really suggest everyone starts taking action. If you got kids, you know, don't worry about their next generation, your grandkids or great-grandkids. You're not going to have them if we continue on this path. So we need to get out and start doing something, and right now nothing's happening and no one's addressing it and the media's not addressing it. And you know, you can make phone calls to the media, put broadcasts out there saying the media's not doing their job. So the next rally will be next week. It'll be July 17th, and it'll be rally number 84. See you then.